How are children impacted by the climate
So
change?
children and youth are really adversely impacted in terms of their physical and their psychological health. They're disproportionately impacted because of their life course exposure. So they will be exposed to the impacts of climate change across their lifespan. And also because of their physical fragility. So that means that they're more susceptible to issues such as air and water pollution that would go with climate change. It's also important to note that they're also least responsible. So they're least responsible but most impacted. So if we think about physical health, about 8% of climate-related deaths in the developing world are due to climate change. And this is because of the physical fragility, but also the life course exposure. So they'll carry that burden with them across the lifespan. And so the impacts come from things like climate-related shocks. So if we look at things like extreme weather events, they're more likely to experience more of those across the lifespan. So research indicates that a child born in 2020 would experience about twice as many wildfires, nearly 3 times as many floods, and over 6 times as many heat waves than a person born in 1960. So we can see from that children are going to experience more of those extreme weather events, which understandably can be experienced as a pretty traumatic experience in the child's life. It can lead to things like food insecurity, associated air and water pollution, and particularly important for especially young children, it can lead to a disruption of social supports and consistency of care. So we know from developmental psychology that consistency of care is really important for children from infancy right through, and young children are very sensitive to their environment. So a thing like extreme weather events or climate related shock can lead to maybe disruption of the family, movement away from social supports, less access to good quality healthcare, education, all of those things which are important for the health and well-being of children. So it has these impacts in terms of those physical health, but also those will bring with them mental health impacts as well. So in terms of what we know in terms of adversity in childhood, we know that the experiences of adversity can have long-term impacts in terms of psychopathology across the lifespan, and the more frequent of those experiences, the kind of cumulative effect it has on the kind of coping strategies of the person. So climate-related threats to psychopathology starts prenatally and continues right through their childhood and adolescence. And those impacts are both direct and indirect. So we can have direct impact, for example, extreme weather events can cause things like depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress syndromes, as well as indirect effects. So like I said, that disruption to support systems, the family stress that it causes can cause significant impact in terms of the child's mental health and the adolescent's mental health. And so it has an effect both directly and indirectly, and it starts prenatally and right through the lifespan.